Perfect Wisdom. With the divisions of the Abhisamilakra. Translated by EdwardConze 1904–1979. University of California Press, Berkeley, Los Angeles, London. Chapter 61, Non-Extinction. The Cognitions of Extinction and of Non-Production. Thereupon the Ven. Subhuti thought to himself. Deep, to be sure, is this enlightenment of the tathagatas. Let me question the tathagata about it. The Ven. Subhuti then said to the Lord. Inexhaustible, O Lord, is the perfection of wisdom. The Lord. Because, like space, it cannot be extinguished. Subhuti. How should one aspire for the perfection of wisdom? The Lord. Through the non-extinction of form, 2. Of the knowledge of all modes, and furthermore through the space-like non-extinction of form, 2. Of the knowledge of all modes. Moreover, through the space-like non-extinction of the karma formations, 2. Through the space-like non-extinction of old age and death, of sorrow, lamentation, pain, sadness, and despair. It is thus that the bodhisattva, the great being, should aspire for the perfection of wisdom. This is the surveying of conditioned coproduction which avoids the extremes. To survey conditioned coproduction in such a manner, that is the special dharma of a bodhisattva who is seated on the terrace of enlightenment. When he thus surveys conditioned coproduction, he will gain the cognition of the all-knowing. A bodhisattva who, coursing in perfect wisdom through this aspiration for space-like non-extinction, surveys conditioned production, cannot stand on the level of disciples or pratyeka Buddhas, but will stand in full enlightenment. If persons belonging to the bodhisattva vehicle turn away from full enlightenment, they do so because they have not resorted to the attentions on this perfection of wisdom. They fail to cognize how a bodhisattva who courses in perfect wisdom should survey conditioned coproduction through the aspiration for space-like non-extinction. Persons who belong to the bodhisattva vehicle, and who yet turn away from full enlightenment do so because they have failed to resort to the skill in means. Those bodhisattvas, great beings, however, who do not turn away from full enlightenment, do so because they all have resorted to this perfection of wisdom. The bodhisattva, the great being, who courses in skill in means and in the perfection of wisdom should through the aspiration for space-like non-extinction survey the perfection of wisdom and aspire to it. When he thus surveys conditioned coproduction, a bodhisattva certainly does not see any dharma that is being produced without a case, nor does he review a dharma that is permanent and never stopped. He review no dharma as a self, a being, a soul, a creature, a man, a youth, a person, a personality, a doer, one who feels, one who knows, one who sees. Nor does he review a dharma as permanent or impermanent, as ease or ill, as self or not self, as appeased or not appeased. It is certainly thus that a bodhisattva, a great being who courses in perfect wisdom, should survey conditioned coproduction. At the time when the bodhisattva courses in perfect wisdom, he does not review form, 2. The knowledge of all modes, as permanent or impermanent, as ease or ill, as self or not self, as appeased or not appeased. He does not review the perfection of wisdom, 2. He does not review enlightenment, nor that dharma by which he would review enlightenment, not that dharma by which he would effect the forsaking of all residues of the defilements. It is thus that a bodhisattva should course in the perfection of wisdom, without taking any dharma as a basis. At the time when the bodhisattva, without taking any dharma as a basis, courses in the perfection of wisdom, at that time Mara, the evil one, is afflicted with the dart of sorrow. Just as a man whose parents have died is afflicted with the dart of sorrow, the dart of the deepest sorrow, just so Mara, the evil one, in respect to the bodhisattva, the great being, who courses in perfect wisdom and takes no dharma as a basis. Subhuti. Is this affliction confined to just one Mara, or does it extend to all the Maras in the great trichiliocosm, to each one on his own seat? The Lord. All evil Maras in the great trichiliocosm are afflicted with the dart of the deepest sorrow, and they do not enjoy themselves where they are. If a bodhisattva, a great being, becomes not lacking in the dwelling of the perfection of wisdom, then the entire world with its gods, men, and asuras cannot gain entry to him, nor can it find any ground for taking hold of him and turning him away from full enlightenment. Therefore, then, Subhuti, the bodhisattva who wants quickly to know full enlightenment should dwell in the dwelling of perfect wisdom. K. The accomplishment of the development of the six perfections. In a bodhisattva who dwells in the dwelling of perfect wisdom, the perfection of giving, 2. The perfection of wisdom, arrive at their most perfect development. In a bodhisattva who dwells in the perfection of wisdom, all the perfections arrive at their most perfect development. Subhuti. How does in a bodhisattva, who courses in perfect wisdom, the perfection of giving, 2. The perfection of wisdom arrive at their most perfect enlightenment? The Lord. Here a bodhisattva dedicates to the knowledge of all modes the gift which he gives. In the same way, dedicating them to the knowledge of all modes, he gurs morality, perfects patience, exerts vigor, enters concentration, and develops wisdom. Subhuti. How, O Lord, does a bodhisattva who has stood in the perfection of giving acquire the perfection of morality? The Lord. Here, when the bodhisattva gives gifts, and dedicates them to the knowledge of all modes, a friendly deed of body, friendly deed of voice, friendly deed of mind is set up towards all beings. On that occasion he acquires the perfection of morality. Subhuti. How then does the bodhisattva, having stood in the perfection of giving, acquire the perfection of patience? The Lord. When the bodhisattva gives gifts, and their recipients abuse and revile him, use unsupportable and harsh words against him, he does not feel any anger for them. Subhuti. How does the bodhisattva, having stood in the perfection of giving, acquire the perfection of vigor? The Lord. When the bodhisattva gives gifts, and their recipients abuse and revile him, use insupportable and harsh words against him, he nevertheless remains determined to give and to renounce. I should give gifts. Not should I not give gifts. So he generates physical and mental vigor in himself. Subhuti. How does the bodhisattva, having stood in the perfection of giving, acquire the perfection of meditation? The Lord. A bodhisattva who gives gifts does not dedicate them to the level of a disciple and pratyeka Buddha, but outside the knowledge of all modes his thought does not proceed. Subhuti. How does the bodhisattva, when he gives gifts with skill in means, acquire the perfection of wisdom? The Lord. When the bodhisattva gives gifts and renounces them, the intelligent appreciation that he has to do with an illusion is always set up with regard to those gifts. And he does not see that these gifts have bestowed anything on any being or taken away anything from anyone. End chapter 61.